Hey everybody, now we're going to work on the eye, and what you're going to want is you have your base, you have your foundation clay. It's about, on the eye I make it a little thinner. It's probably 1/8 of an inch thick versus 1/4 of an inch thick. I have a ball and I have a piece of clay off to the side, about 2 inches by 1/2 inch thick to work with as we're building the eye. So what I'm doing here is I have a ball, and it's probably about 1 inch in width in diameter, and I'm going to lay it and kind of press it into my clay. Now what I've noticed is that on Primo clay it's a little harder to do this because it's not as pliable as Pro Sculpt. With Pro Sculpt, it's very similar to me to a more putty-like consistency and easier to get the dimensions in for the eye that I want to do. So I'm changing up the tools a little bit here. So I'm going to a metal tool, although I am going to use the rubber tips that we've been using from time to time. I'm not changing, but I'm adding to the size of my ball tool, and I'm introducing a tool that makes holes. Now this would be for cornea, and this is how I did this fairy that I'm working on. I did her eyes, but instead of using the tool to make a hole in the eye, I used a ball tool to make a deep impression. But either way it'll work. Whether you make that deep impression, remember that clay has to go somewhere. So if you're going to shape your eye and not remove the clay from the hole, your iris area, then you're going to shift that clay around, and you're probably going to have to go in there and readjust your eye. So just remember that. So it's all based on how you want to proceed. Okay, the first thing I do when I do my eyes, and I do eyes all different kinds of ways because there's all different kinds of ways to do eyes. But the very first thing I do is I take a ball of clay and I put it on my base. Okay? Then I take a heavy sculpting tool that's curved, and I'm going to place it down on that clay just like this. I'm going to get it started and then I'll hold it up, and I'm going to press inward. And what this is going to do, it's going to shape the eyeball into the clay like that. So you can see where this is headed. I have and now with Pro Sculpt this would have just gone in like butter, but with the Primo it's just a little bit it's a little bit harder clay. It's not as forgiving. So that's the first thing you want to do. I'll give you time to do that, and then we'll go on to the next step.